Our guest today is Jim Parkman. This was a huge case. I mean, this was the fourth largest accounting fraud in the history of the United States.
The CEO of HealthSouth, the Fortune 500 healthcare company.
Ferrari Enzo was nearly obliterated in the high-speed crash along the PCH.
Zenvo ST1 50S.
He went from being on the Real Housewives of New Jersey.
Only made 3 for the United States.
Bobby Khan, former exotic car dealer turned #1 FBI's most wanted fugitive.
Generally, when you look at the law, 90% of the time it's against you.
The FBI put a $20,000 reward for information into his arrest.
Bobby Khan scammed super rich customers at a New Jersey car dealership.
Join myself and James Parkman, my attorney and best friend, as we have cars, courts, and conversations.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of Parkman Khan Unleashed. That's Jim Parkman, Bobby Khan. And today, I think, Jimmy, we should talk about the fires in California.
Yeah, I know it's a little late, but there's some things that...
There's things that we got to talk about of what's wrong, what's going to happen, and what we perceive as the future.
Yeah, and let me say this. Whatever I say has nothing to do at all other than I just have so much empathy and I feel so bad for these people that have lost everything they own.
I mean, I couldn't imagine.
I can't imagine either. I can't imagine.
It's, when you're sitting at home and it's not affecting you, people don't realize the enormity of this, right? So not only did people have to leave their homes with the clothes on their back and maybe their cell phone and a handful of belongings, but people lost memories, childhood memories, whole lives. Unless anything was on your phone, your pictures are gone, your mementos, awards, trophies. I mean,
everything.
Everything you had your whole life is gone. You're starting from scratch again. And then besides humans, animals. How many animals lost their lives that couldn't be rescued in time? Horses that couldn't be saved. There were 1,500-pound animals. You couldn't save them, run them down the hill.
Horrible.
Yeah, horrible. These animals burnt to death. Dogs lost. Pets now. There's hundreds and hundreds of pets in all kinds of places being held that they found and rescued. This doesn't even count the animals that died. I mean, it looks like like an apocalypse came and just that was it. I mean, it looks like Hiroshima.
Exactly is what it looks like. Yeah. There's nothing left standing. It's gone. And, I think it's hard for people, at least it is for me, on this side of the country. We don't see a lot of wildfires. Okay,
no,
we don't. In fact, I don't ever remember any wildfire. But we have the tornadoes and we have the hurricanes.
Yeah.
So but they don't. They go through a small patch sometimes. Maybe not as big as what we're seeing out there. But it's hard to imagine to us, or to me, not to us, but to me, that a fire could be so destructive.
Well, I mean, this is not. I'm going to get into where things could have changed and maybe it could have been contained. When Trump was president the first time, he had a big blowout with Gavin Newsom back then, and he kept saying, "Look, one of the things that California does is they basically believe in this natural thing about the forest, right? So when the tree falls, they just let it sit there instead of picking it up. There's no deforestation. So they're not going and cutting the trees that are overhanging the electrical lines. They're not picking up the dead trees. They're not cutting the brush down. They're just letting it heal itself, right? But after a while, you and I both know, you got to trim those trees. You got to pick up the dead trees. So that's one thing. Then they didn't want the water that was, like the ice that's melting up north to flow down to help the farmers, to make sure that the land isn't dry and arid and actually is moist. No, they wanted to go save this little fish, the little silver fish that's out there because it's going to be extinct if we don't do it. Well, that fish isn't changing anybody's life, but burning 21,000 acres is going to change a lot of people's lives. So mismanagement, then obviously the reservoirs were empty, right? They passed a law 10 years ago that they were supposed to build new reservoirs. Not one has been built yet. 10 years ago, they got the funding for it, but nothing was built. The reservoir that they had 100 million gallons of water in it. They dumped it into the ocean to help the fish. I mean, what's going on here?
Well, I think you just answered your question. I hate to say that, but it looks like, the people that are in charge, all the way from the government, all the way down, basically did what I refer to as the ostrich approach. You're told this could happen, but you stick your head in the sand thinking it'll never happen, and man, that'll never take place. That's not going to happen. We're never going to have the perfect storm here, to do this. The winds, the fire, the dryness. We're never going to have all that at one time. Well, you did.
Well, as a politician, I would put humans over fish. Okay, I would put human lives over a cause of like the Green Lobby. At the end of the day, here's what I think of: humans matter. I ran for office. I got elected for office because I was fighting for humans. Yes, you're telling me about, this whole Greenpeace and all this, everything else that's been talking about, the world's going to come to an end because if we don't do this. Let me tell you, this thing started in the 70s. The world was supposed to end in the 80s, 90s, 2000s. We're still here. The hole in the ozone layer healed itself. So, the Earth was here when the dinosaurs were here. There was whatever. The dinosaurs are gone. We came along. Whatever. But you're sitting there and trying to say, we're not going to do this and we're not going to do this because we might endanger the Earth. Well, what do you think happens when 21,000 acres goes up in flames? All those toxins, all the stuff that burnt. How do you think that went up into the ozone layer?
Well, of course. Yeah. And, the next problem that I see, and I don't know the answer to this, but I think I got a pretty good guess. Okay,
is rebuilding.
Where are you going to get the money from? Because I'm not so sure that these insurance companies have enough money to pay out for the damage that's been done and the goods lost.
Well, that's the other problem. So first off, people at home are saying, well, Biden said that for the next 180 days, they're going to help the government. Hold on, because what happened is insurance companies weren't insuring a lot of places. The insurance companies that were insuring started to pull out. Now, even though that, I think somebody from the California state came out and said he's forcing insurance companies to go back to October. So if they cancel policies in November and December, they have to go back now till October to pay. But you and I both know those insurance companies are going to fight tooth and nail, and it'll take years in courts before any payouts are being paid.
If they have the money.
If they have the money. And the ones that have insurance, they're going to have to now fight. Someone says, my house was $10 million. And we're like, well, proof that you had this much furniture. Proof that you had this. They're going to fight. There's a guy that had a $19 million house, and he couldn't get insurance on his house. So he had to go through a state to get insurance, and they cap out at $3 million. So $3 million does not pay a $19 million mortgage. His mortgage is $100,000 a month. He's still on the hook for the $100,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and if you're going to rebuild,
you can't get enough. Yeah, you already have an outstanding mortgage, and now that's attached to that property. So what's going to happen? There's going to be a big mess of things. So like people okay, they want to go buy a new house, but they can't because they have an unpaid mortgage, or they're going to have to file bankruptcy.
Not getting the money for the damage that they lost.
Absolutely. And the insurance companies are going to go belly up. The ones that aren't going to go belly up are going to nickel and dime everybody. It's going to take years. So like I was talking to a friend of mine the other day, and he owns a Rolls-Royce dealership, right? And, I said, look, 6,000 cars burnt up. And he said, yeah, but the problem is moving forward, those people the last thing on their mind is to go buy another Rolls-Royce. He goes, they're at this point, they're trying to figure out, how am I going to build another home? Do I build another home in this area? Because there's no schools left. There's no shopping malls. Nothing is left. So their future it's going to take years for them to get back up. And then a lot of people might just say that actually own the land and say, I'm done, sell it, move on. And that is going to make an impact in places like Las Vegas, where now we're going to see rent prices increase, property prices increase. We're going to see, and we're already struggling because Nevada is 87% of the land in Nevada is controlled by the BLM.
Yeah.
So,
but and so all these people are out there, and let's take me. If I had a house and I've been paying insurance, for fire damage, and then I find out that the insurance company doesn't have any money to pay me.
Yeah, what are you gonna do?
I mean, and they're going, goodbye, have a nice day, we're through here.
And you can sue, but now you're financially not in a position to sue.
But they're going to file bankruptcy and you're out. So you're lost. And then second, okay, so I build my house back, right? Who's going to insure it for anything reasonable?
No one is. After what that happened,
Nobody.
Some people, insurance was costing them almost $500,000 a year.
Yes.
That's insane.
That's insane. It's insane.
Yep. There was a guy that had $1 million house. On $1 million house, he was paying $68,000 a year on insurance, and it didn't even cover the full house. That's insanity.
It's insanity.
And
now the insurance company's going to go, well, look, we appreciate it, but we paid out some money, but we're broke.
Exactly.
We don't have any money. We're sorry.
And nothing's going to happen to them. Politicians aren't going to go after them. They'll just file bankruptcy. They have enough lawyers, and that's it. But moving forward, so I know, as all this is happening, a lot of people, I think, moving forward, if they rebuild or their house was saved, I think what's going to happen is they're going to invest highly in fireproofing their homes. Okay, so there's a guy that my friend Mike that knows, right? Yeah. This guy built a $11 million or $12 million house, and what he did was he made sure he built a huge pool, like extra large. I think it was like 100,000 gallon pool, right? Whoa. What he did was he retrofitted every angle of the house with piping. So what they do is, in case of a fire and they shut the water off or something, his pump would kick in on a generator.
Take it from the pool.
Wetting the house, and sucking the water out of the thing and wet the entire house and the grounds around it. So this way, the fire can't touch it. And I think, I saw another video, somebody had like a $3,700 pump that he put in his pool. He didn't have a big pool, but he did what he could, and he saved his house. And then there was another guy that had this thing on his roof that was sprinkling off fire retardant, that red stuff, the powder, all over his property, and his house survived. Yeah. So I think a lot of people are going to be like, well, we're going to have to just self-insure it or something like that by adding things that we can control.
Well, and then I will tell you this: there's a, and I hate to bring up problems, but that's what it creates.
Yep.
So the house doesn't burn down, but a huge tree, gets caught on fire and falls on top of the house and damages the house.
Of course.
So you're right back to square one again. So, it may not be the fire that burned up your house. It may be the tree that fell down through, and then they're dropping water everywhere.
Now you got water damage.
Water gets down in there. You got mold. Now you got to tear out the whole. I mean, come on.
But,
it's just.
I guess water damage is protected. Your insurance company might insure you for water damage, but not fire damage.
That's right. They may. They may do that. And, I had a beach house at one time before I moved, and, we had a hurricane come by. And so you would call and you'd go, okay, wind insurance.
Yeah.
Hurricane blew this off. No, that was water damage that came in. You're going to have to contact the water insurance company.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah.
You catching on?
Yeah. Well, insurance companies are such scams. So, years ago, when I had the dealership, Hurricane Sandy comes, right? And just I don't know how, but for some reason, my home and my dealership were saved. Nothing happened. So the insurance broker calls me up a couple of days afterwards, and he says, "Hey, so how'd you make out?" I said, "Home's fine. Every dealership's fine. We just had a sign that fell down at the dealership, right?" He's like, "Oh, okay." So I said, "But I'm not filing any claims. I'm good, right?" And I told him that. The next month, I got a premium increase. So I called him. I said, "Why did you premium increase?" They said, "Well, we're expecting a claim from you." I said, "You called me. I didn't call you. You asked me." I said, "We're fine. I'm not putting a claim in." He said, "Well, yeah, but they're expecting it." I said, "Are you kidding me? How is this? This is like what the FBI entraps you with certain things, and then they charge you. That's entrapment."
It's neat, isn't it? Now,
exactly.
Now, I want to go to something I don't know if you've heard about.
Okay.
And it's kind of difficult for me to say this because I don't want it to sound like I just want to bring it up. Okay. How much information did you get out of the hurricane that came through North Carolina? How much actual as compared to the fire?
Not much.
Not much. It destroyed North Carolina.
North Carolina, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Now, here's the problem, in my opinion. Okay? People in North Carolina didn't get this exposure.
No, they didn't.
They didn't have the Jay Leno's get on TV and go, my house has been, or my friend's house, or all the movie stars and all that.
Yeah.
And the networks didn't cover all that in Florida and North Carolina like they're doing the fire. But they had still destruction of the same type. May not be, as much. I don't know. Maybe it is as much.
Of course.
But there wasn't much about it.
Exactly.
Now, why not?
I'm going to tell you why. Because media, and you can tell me if I'm wrong.
No, I'm bringing it up.
The media is hoity-toity, and they think they're better than everybody. Okay, and their friends live. Like I made a comment to TMZ because what they do is TMZ's every post was such and such's house is burnt down, such and such's house burnt down, and it was like one celebrity after the other. So I made a comment. I said, "Great, that guy's worth $150 million. He can get back up on his feet. But how about the family that works hard? Mom and dad have 2 jobs. They barely make meet, that lost their homes. We're not talking about those people. But yet the media keeps putting up there, this actor lost his home. Great. But that guy's worth $300 million. He will get back up on his feet. And the media focus so much, and like all these rich people are losing their mansions, and all these fancy cars are going, and then that just kept going viral. Because guess what? They're showing videos of a burnt out Lamborghini. They're showing videos of a Porsche. So that video goes viral. And Hollywood obviously is running the narrative at this point because all these celebrities are retweeting, I had to leave my house today. And then they have millions of followers. And then I had to, I'm out here giving food to these people. And it's like, it just goes viral. And there was no celebrities living in North Carolina. There wasn't, yes, there are people with money, but there's not that many people with money. There's not that many $1 million mansions and $10 million mansions in North Carolina as they are in LA.
And let's take it. Let me go one little step. Let me go a step further. Okay. Step farther. Ready?
It's a red. Go ahead.
Here we go. The difference being, okay, that politicians are listening to the money people, that their friends and political helpers with cash and funds. And what they do is, and I'm taking this right off the bat, FEMA, from what I read, FEMA hardly did anything in Florida and North Carolina.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And now it's like the people in California are going, well, government, bring the Brinks truck and unload the cash at the front door so we can rebuild.
Absolutely, exactly.
And the people in North Carolina going, we couldn't even get FEMA here.
Yeah, $700 per family.
We couldn't even get them here for water. Why,
because remember the FEMA woman said, they sent out a memo and said if they got a Trump sign on their property, just keep going.
We're past it.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
but it wasn't even that. It was that they didn't even show up for weeks.
No.
I mean, but all of a sudden, California and look, I said I don't want this to go against people that lost their homes and everything, but you can't have
it can't be
people ignoring something over in these states and then recognizing these because of some reason. That deals with...
All citizens matter. Every citizen
all citizens matter.
And they should all be treated because, at the end of the day, they're all Americans, right? They're all living on this land, so they should all be treated exactly the same.
Right.
So why are we doing this, right? And it's not right. And, and then let me just talk about FEMA, too, and let me talk about our government. So you and I both know anytime the government does something, they screw it up, okay? So now, have you been to FEMA's website this week? I went to FEMA's website the other day, and I'm a pretty smart guy. And I'm looking at this website, I'm like, I'm just trying to picture an average person that's stressed out, that is trying to get on this website to find a way where they can get aid, and it is impossible. Like, once I clicked on one link, it kicks you back here. It has like all this gibberish, and what's going to happen is some poor schmuck's going to write the wrong thing on there, and now he's got a federal offense on his hands because, well, you lied to the government. You know, you're not in the right state of mind when you're going through this, so you may make a mistake, and it's like you have to apply. It shouldn't be that. It should be, look, they put in their address, they put in the pictures of their homes or whatever and say, this is what it is. They write them a check. It shouldn't be, I need to apply and see if I get approved for it. You sent $31 billion to Ukraine. You sent $6 million to California last week for a $770 check. I got nothing. We're sending aid. I want to know how much aid Ukraine sent to California or North Carolina. I want to know how much aid Israel or anybody else sent to all these places, or Pakistan or India or any other country that we've sent aid to over the years. Who stepped up? I haven't heard one announcement from any country.
Well,
Japan,
I did.
Japan, $2 million.
No, Ukraine. The president said that he had firefighters there that were ready if necessary.
Okay.
I did see that.
Okay, I didn't see that one. But
nothing against him. I appreciate it. I appreciate his,
exactly.
Ready. We need him,
Yeah, exactly. But the thing is, we've done too much for them. At this point, it should be America first. It should be Americans first. We shouldn't be sitting there saying FEMA's funds are depleted because we sent money elsewhere. And no, I don't believe in that. I believe that we need to make sure that if a disaster happens, Americans get handled first, before we start sending money anywhere else.
And that's all Americans.
Yes, not just blue state, red. No,
not just Bel Air.
Yes, I don't care if you're in Fargo, Minnesota, or you're in Beverly Hills, California. You should get equal treatment. If you lost your home, you lost this. FEMA should step up and help you.
Get the same treatment that you're going to give to everybody else.
It doesn't matter if you're Democrat, Republican. They need to be taken care of. That's how it is.
And I will remind people of this if you're listening. There was no information at all, zero, that North Carolina would ever go through this type of a hurricane and this type of water. Ever.
Absolutely nothing.
Ever. But California was warned years ago.
Years and years. For the last 10 years we've been talking about.
That this could happen very easily.
Yep.
So I'm saying, I'm with you. I'm not trying to take away anything from the people that lost anything.
No, we can't take away from anything.
I just want equal around the board. I want it for North Carolina. I want it for people in Florida. They had deaths too. They had lives. They wiped out their businesses. It wiped out just like the fire did.
Absolutely.
It doesn't matter. But that's all I'm asking is let's make it equal.
And we'd love to hear what people's thoughts are. I mean, listen, I want to hear, if you're down in California and you watch us and you want to come on and talk to us, let us know. I'd love to hear from people. So,
and I'm sorry for all of you.
And sorry for everybody's losses, and sorry for the people that lost their lives and their animals. And honestly, it's just a bad situation for people there.
And one final thing, a lot of people, a lot of individuals and corporations have given a lot of money.
Yes, they have.
And I think that is tremendous.
Absolutely. And there's individuals out there helping. Like my friend Terry Kasem, her father was Casey Kasem. And she's been out there every day since all the fire started. She's rescuing animals with her friends, raising money, and doing whatever. And it's so honorable watching her do what she's doing.
It's great. So even if you do it and you don't disclose that you've done it, thank you. Yep. I think it's great for people to realize that America is America still.
Yeah, I mean, we help out when we can. And
we got our spirit.
Every little bit counts. So
you got it.
Yep. All right, guys. Take care. Enjoy. Thanks for watching. All right.